Welcome back. Episode 20 of Griddyiron Gang. What we got today is a Week 9 recap. As we always do, we start with the Thursday night football game. This week, we have Philly looking to stay undefeated, travel on the road to Houston to face the Texans, and a slow start tested Philly early. They went into this third quarter, tied at the half. This game really changed when Davis Mills threw an interception to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, one of the new additions to this Eagles team, that led to a Hurts connection to A.J. Brown for a touchdown. Another interception later pretty much sealed this game for Philadelphia. Hurts played pretty well, efficient game, 21-27, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sanders had a good day on the ground. Goddard and Brown had a good day receiving. This Philly team kind of woke up in the second half after they haven't been scoring in the second half early on this season. What did you think about this game right here?
Yeah, I think I think it was tough for Philly. I mean, it was a tough turnaround, go right into from Sunday to Thursday. It clearly affected them, I think. I know that Darius Slay was begging and pleading to get rid of Thursday night games after that game. But, you know, it's a testament to how tough that squad is going in there on the road on a Thursday night and pulling off the W. The Texans, I mean, they put up the best fight they could, and especially without any viable weapons on that team, besides Dameon Pierce, which I think that man's the truth. I think he's a bona fide top 3 back within the next year or so. And I thought when I watched the game, it was a better game than I expected. I expected more of a blowout, but these Thursday night games, man, they're just tough, dude. Like there's a lot of the times it's just bad football. And it wasn't necessarily bad football, but it was on the verge of being, very suspect. And, Philly's just definitely the team to beat right now. They're the best team in the league. Props to them, 8-0. But I think, you don't have A.J. Brown on that squad. Probably not an undefeated team. I'm not ready to put Jalen Hurts in my, MVP talk just yet. I think I need to see, just a little bit more, pizzazz or, a little bit more like something from him. He's just one of those guys. He looks like he's just in a perfect system for him. He's still growing, and I know he's going to get better. He's a great leader. He proves that every time I hear him talk in an interview. I would, love to have him as a quarterback. Right now, he just got such a great team and squad around him that he just has to get the ball into the playmakers' hands and not make mistakes, and they'll be good to go.
Yeah, you mentioned him in the MVP category. I just think him being the quarterback of an 8-0 team, playing pretty good football, he has to be in the conversation. As far as him being in the system that benefits him a lot, do you think that's like a Jared Goff situation, a Garoppolo situation? Or do you think he's going to be able to break out of that at some point and be better than those guys?
I believe he'll be able to break out of that and be much better than those guys. But along the lines of, I'll put him in the MVP conversation, over Kirk Cousins. But if Kirk Cousins is a quarterback of a 7-1 squad, he's got to be in that conversation as well.
He should be. The narrative isn't that, but you have to say he is. He's one game away from being top in the NFC, so.
Yeah, and that's me. And that me talking about Jalen Hurts, I'm not knocking him by any means. I like the guy. I like him as a player. But for me, it's just I think that team overall is just too good that it overlooks to me it overtakes what he's doing as an individual.
I hear that. They really don't have any weaknesses, and they have a lot of depth across the board. So if he just goes out there, doesn't make mistakes, like we say about a lot of these guys, he's going to be all right for the rest of the season for sure.
For sure.
These next games, noon games, I kind of want to clump them together because they all finished 20-17. The first one, maybe the most surprising. We're just talking about some MVP guys. Here's another one that took a L, Josh Allen. This was pretty much a defensive battle for me. Game started with an interception, ended with an interception. Tied at 17. Wilson in the run game led this Jets team down the field. Game-winning field goal. And on this last drive, Josh Allen strip sacked, incomplete pass, completion of Diggs negated by a penalty, and then the ultimate interception by Sauce Gardner, which sealed this game for the New York Jets. Yeah, they took an L, but the big story is Josh Allen came out of this game with the elbow injury. So what do you think about this game, and then what do you think about this injury?
Well, first I'll start with the injury. Like I really hope he's going to be okay because based on what they came out with today, being the UCL and some nerve damage possibly, that's a tough injury for anyone who throws a ball, whether it's a baseball or football. And if it leads to Tommy John, I mean that's anywhere from 9 months to 18 months, and I mean that crushes their Super Bowl dreams this year for sure. They're not winning the Super Bowl with Case Keenum. I mean
At 18, it might crush the window.
We might. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, but I just don't think that Keenum's not the guy who can push them over the hump, even with that roster. I just think they still got some holes in that team that I think that it was exposed a little bit this weekend by the Jets, and I think they're a very beatable team. But at the same time, for my Vikes playing them this weekend, I'd rather Josh Allen be playing so we can at least play the best. And if we get smacked, we get smacked. But I don't want to go in there and get a W against Case Keenum and it still be, the Vikings, they won, but Case Keenum played. They're frauds and say what you want. But, but back to the game. Number one, I think Sauce Gardner, like you said, maybe by the end of the year, but I think this dude's going to be hands down the number one cornerback in the league. I mean, the dude's got major swag. He balls. And one of the big plays he had, I think, was towards the end of the game on Gabriel Davis down the left sideline. Just perfect defense, got in his face, played it really well. He's just a true number one shutdown corner. And he got burnt, I think, on the first drive by Diggs. But, he's a rookie. Those things happen. Diggs is one of the best route runners in the league. He's gonna catch the best off guard sometimes. And that was one matchup I was very much looking forward to watching, and I mean they gave us a show. So, but
Listen.
On the Jets side of things, it was just an overall great game plan by the Jets. I think Robert Saleh did a wonderful job coaching this team this week. They were very smart to not let Wilson beat themselves and turn the ball over. That I think he had one interception, I believe, but there was a lot of dink and dunk. It was a lot of screen passes. It was get the ball out quick, let him make plays, and that's how you got to roll with Zach Wilson because this dude, I think, he's not going to be the answer going forward. He's not the franchise guy. You might have a year or two left with him, but they're going to move on, and they need to do so quickly because they got a very talented team, and I believe they can do some major damage in the league if they have the right guy at the quarterback position. So, props to them for pulling off the upset. This AFC East division is what I expected the AFC West division to look like this year.
Yeah, that's a good call. They're really overachieving out there. To your Wilson point, before we move on, I think the Jets are doing things that a lot of teams are doing. It's a copycat league. They're putting him in positions where he doesn't fail and positions where he can just play average to above average. I think a lot of teams are doing that. You see it with Chicago, letting Justin Fields run the ball a lot more. I think that was something you were going to see with Trey Lance, but you do see that with a lot of these guys that are limited in skill-wise or underdeveloped at the quarterback position. So
for sure,
you're going to see a lot of these guys having 150-yard games with wins going forward, I think, for the rest of the season.
I agree.
Next game, we had the Chargers on the road at Atlanta, getting out of there with a dub, 20-17. Falcons, they got a star back in Cordero Patterson, playing against a team who was down a couple stars, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. We know J.C. Jackson's down on the opposite side, Joey Bosa as well. But didn't stop him from getting the W. A double fumble in this game. Eckler fumbles. Atlanta picks it up. They fumble on the return. Chargers get the ball back and end up kicking the game-winning field goal. Dicker the kicker was the hero today.
Yeah, let me just say Atlanta had no business losing this game.
No, not at all.
They were clearly the better team that just happened to lose. And the Chargers, they are a bad football team that is very poorly coached. And it's too bad to say that because they have a talented roster. But it's just plain and simple. They're a bad football team, and they're very, very poorly coached. And Brandon Staley needs to get the boot. That's pretty much all I have to say about this game. It's a shame. I know I picked the Chargers and you had Atlanta, but Atlanta had no business losing. And they're very happy to have Cordero back because they're a sneaky team.
Yeah, Cordero in his return had 2 touchdowns. Mariota didn't have a big game, and I think that's because he overthrew Pitts on 2 passes. Both, you could have argued, were going to end up in the end zone. So that could have been the difference in this game, too. Next, we can move on to your boys. Minnesota was on the road at Washington,
Yeah.
and they got their sixth.
Yeah, I definitely could have. I think
You got it. We're lagging out a little bit, folks. Apologizes.
say that again.
You got it, bro. Finish on your finishing points on the Atlanta game.
Minnesota versus Washington. This was a game I like to call the Vikings versus the refs. No, I'm specifically talking about the one play. I just think that we clearly would have had that interception, I believe, from Cam Bynum.
That was clear
as day when you watch the replay, as I've watched it over and over again. And for the ref to completely not try to get out of the way and just lower his shoulder into Cam Bynum.
Oh, he was lead blocking.
Bullshit.
That was crazy.
I think in this scenario, there needs to be just like the players are held accountable for touching the refs need to be held accountable for touching the players, whether it's on accident or not. This ref needs to be fined and have his paycheck taken away for the week. And this needs to be reviewed because I believe, and this could have happened to any other team, not even my squad, and I would still be saying the same thing. This type of play needs to go back, and they all need to be a replay of down because you can't score a touchdown like that. It's Bush League, and it's just bullshit. The defense continues to step up when needed, and it's a very beautiful thing to see because I've been very hard on them. I mean, there's still some question marks, but they're steadily improving week to week, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think they're starting to finally get adjusted to this 3-4 scheme. They're starting to play within themselves and play complementary football. So hopefully I believe this Vikings team hasn't reached their ceiling yet. I know they look fraudulent and I know they look very mediocre, but I believe the best football for them is still ahead of them. And let me just say, I believe TJ Hawkinson is a fucking game changer, bro, for this offense. Like he is a game changer. I think he opens so much more up for this offense, and I think he's the true number 2 target behind Justin Jefferson. 4 days or 3 days of practice, and he has 9 catches on 9 targets for 70 yards. I mean, who does that? Who does that, bro? You pick up the offense that quick, and Kirk Cousins says that, it took him almost 4 months to really hone in on this system. So that's a testament to his work ethic and how smart he is. But I really think I'm not going to, you can't obviously crown the team, but you can credit the front office and the coach for going out and getting a guy like this because they clearly saw a need that we needed, and they went out and got it. And Hawkinson, he's kind of like a George Kittle to me. Not going to put him on the same level as him yet, but he's like a George Kittle. And, I think it's only going to help this offense moving forward. But, starting this week with this next 3 or 4 game stretch we have coming up, it's time to put the big boy pants on and it's time to, play our best football because we haven't done so yet. And we can't go into this, especially this Buffalo game or this Dallas game, and we can't play like we have been and letting it come down to the wire. It's got to be, we're either going to get, we're probably going to lose by 10 or more points to both these teams, or we'll beat them by a 1-score game, but we'll have more control than we've had in the previous games. And it's not going to be where we're coming back, down 10 points. That's if we win. But otherwise, I see, if we're not that team, we're probably going to lose by 10 or more to these teams, I believe, starting with Buffalo and then going into Dallas. But I will say credit to Washington. They put up a hell of a fight, and their front 7 is ridiculous, bro. They have a great defensive line, and they're only going to get better with Chase Young coming back. I mean, they fucking embarrassed our interior offensive line. Ezra Cleveland and Ed Ingram should be embarrassed. They got their asses kicked. And I would hate to be going in to watch film today because that's just a shame. You shouldn't have a game like that in the NFL. I mean, you're a professional athlete, professional lineman. That's inexcusable. And another guy I like on Washington, who I believe is going to turn into a very solid defensive back and who played for Michigan and Minnesota Gophers, Benjamin St. Juste, or however we pronounce that last name. He's a very solid defensive back, bro.
25.
I like what I saw. He's very long. He was holding the zone against JJ all day long. And I believe they got a very good cornerback in him. So, I think Washington, they're not a bottom feeder team. They just are, they're missing a piece at quarterback. And, I think that they'll be a team to watch out for next year because they're not that far off, especially with that defense.
No, they're not far off at all. Quarterback is the key. Got a good run game. They have good weapons. Samuel and McLaurin on the outside. Like you said, the front seven is full of monsters up there, and they don't even have the number 1 draft pick. So they're definitely in good hands as long as they get a decent quarterback in there next year for sure. TJ, he was a big addition for you guys. He played well. JJ had a big play on the opening drive. Was that his first touchdown since week 1?
Yes, it was. I mean, he's had a touchdown, but it was rushing. So, yeah, that's his first receiving touchdown since week 1.
Oh, wow. Must have been good to see. You guys definitely pulled that one out. Good teams win games. I think that's what you did. A couple calls went your way after a couple calls didn't earlier in the game. But I think you guys play best in the fourth quarter when you need to make a drive to win the game. It seems like you guys are very comfortable in that position. And I know you don't like being in that position, but seeing you guys pull it out this many times, for me, that would give me confidence going forward.
Oh, no question. Like I have gained. This game has pushed my confidence to a higher level more than it has been all season. It's a testament to this team because when I watched at the end of this game, I said to myself, I'm like, I don't like the fact that we're having to come back some games or only win by 8 or less than 8 points. But at the same time, this team, they don't get scared. They don't get, they don't get timid. They embrace the opportunity to go in and battle and fight back. If this was last year's team, we would lay down and die. But they don't do that. They know the game's not over until it's over. And the huge turning point in this game was Harrison Smith's interception. Without that interception,
bad pass.
Without the interception, we might not win that game because that was the biggest momentum shift in that game. And when you pick that ball off and you're still losing in the fourth quarter, and you go and do a big bowling celebration, that shows that you still got a lot of confidence you can win this game. So right then, that was a turning point for me where I'm like, okay, I think we got this in the bag. And what's scary about it on offense, what's scary about TJ coming over is there were so many times where I still saw him open and we didn't throw him the ball. And he's also freeing up JJ as a tight end, which is freaking insane because they can't just have a linebacker covering our tight end every down. They have to put a safety on TJ now. And as a 3-down tight end, he's shaking off safeties and getting 15-yard gains in the middle of the field like it's nothing. I mean, there's a couple wasted passes to him where they were screen plays behind the line of scrimmage. So he could have went off for even more and possibly a touchdown. But you think about us in the red zone going forward and him getting more comfortable in the system, we're going to be a scary red zone team. You don't want us to get inside the 20 because we'll be able to score at will anytime.
We'll keep it in the NFC North here. What are your thoughts on this Green Bay loss to Detroit, 9-15 on the road? Rodgers has 3 picks as the Lions get their feisty W out there biting kneecaps.
Rodgers and the Packers are officially cooked, bro. They are done. Aaron Rodgers, I've never seen him this frustrated and he just seems like he just doesn't want to play for Green Bay anymore. He's sick of the situation they're in. he's sick of not having weapons. He misses Devontae Adams. But even if they had Devontae Adams, I don't think he saves this team.
He'll be in Vegas next year.
He's either switching teams or he's retiring. That's my guess. I mean, I just don't. They're in cap hell right now, and there's no end in sight for them fixing this anytime soon.
Dobbs got hurt. Jones left the game with the injury. They have no weapons right now.
And I do feel bad. I don't like seeing guys get hurt. I feel bad. Rashawn Gary tore his ACL. That's a major blow to them.
Ooh, I didn't even know that. Golly.
With him out, he's one of the leaders on that defensive side. And with him out, that's going to be tough. But, I was listening to someone after the game yesterday, and he's a Packers fan, and he was saying, this defense is good, but our offense is so bad that our defense can't get off the field. So they're gassed by the second half, which that is totally believable, and that makes sense. When I watch that, it totally makes sense in that situation. But the thing is, Aaron Rodgers, he's not a captain this year. He's not a leader. He's a captain with the C on his chest, but I'm just saying in general terms, he's not a leader. Like he's bitching and moaning out there all the time. He's cussing, he's yelling. Who wants to play for a quarterback like that when you feel like you have to walk around on eggshells around him? Like the dude's a douchebag. Like all the great things he's done, he's not even in the same atmosphere as Tom Brady. And the fact that I see so many Green Bay fans, Lil Wayne even, they're sick of seeing 12 out there. They want to either put Love in, or they want to trade him, or they want to be free of Aaron Rodgers and his bullshit. And it's, as a Vikings fan, it's one of the best fucking things to watch. You all are burning to the ground, and there's no end in sight to the misery you guys are going to be feeling for the longest time, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years now. You're back to the shithole. You got lucky by having Favre and Rodgers for how many years? You got two Super Bowls out of them, and you guys have just been the greatest regular season team in history, and always blow it in the playoffs. So I don't want to hear the same. I don't want to hear the same old shit. Well, how many trophies do you got? Well, I'd rather have 0 and have a decent team each year and have Kirk Cousins. And I don't need the 2 trophies that you got lucky by having Favre and Rodgers, bro. Like, are you kidding me? And then you got to put up with the bullshit that they put you guys through. The Favre drama, retiring, unretiring. Aaron Rodgers bitching and moaning, not knowing. I mean, he wants to get the bag, and then he gets the bag, and, well, I don't got no help. Well, we can't pay no one because you put us in cap hell. Rodgers, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you guys are done. You're cooked. Your season's over. Time to hit the off-season button. Time to get ready for the draft. Time to pack up for vacation. Sayonara. See you later.
Well, we'll finish off the NFC North. The Miami Dolphins went on the road and faced Chicago. Maybe the best game of the day, 35-32, W for Miami. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I thought Justin Fields had a lot of runs that get called back. I know he had a big one against you guys that probably would have sealed the game for Chicago, at least got him into overtime. Yesterday, that was not the case. None of these runs got called back, and he ended up breaking the single-game record for the regular season rush yards for a quarterback. Yes, sir. The great Michael Vick of the Atlanta Falcons. Wasn't enough to win this game, though. He still was only 17-28, 123 yards, and through the air. Did have 3 touchdowns. 2 went to Mooney. 1 went to his tight end, Cole Kmet. The story, though, Miami just puts up these points, and it looks real easy. Tua was 21-30, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. 1 to Tyreek, 1 to Waddle. What do you think, man? I'm still not a believer. I don't think this game should have been that close to Chicago, even though I did have Chicago winning the game. That's just because I don't believe in Miami.
I'm not necessarily a believer in Miami, but I will say Tua he's just a winner, bro. Like, there's some people who just have that gene in them that they go out in there and win. And every game he started and finished this year, they're 6-0. He may not have great arm strength, but I mean, he's a winner. And the thing is, he's got winning pieces around him, which is kind of proven, the point of Tua can be. Tua, I'll say, compared to Jalen Hurts, Tua is much more of a system quarterback than Jalen Hurts is.
I'm glad you brought Jalen Hurts up because I was going to compare the two as well. I think they do a lot of the same things on the field. You said Jalen Hurts is kind of throw it to A.J. Brown or kind of a short pass guy, let those guys do the work. I mean, Tua does that more than anybody in the league, I would argue.
He does. I wasn't necessarily saying Jalen Hurts is a dink and dunk quarterback or anything. I'm just saying whether it's long, intermediate, short, he gets the ball into the hands of Devontae, AJ, Goddard, Miles Sanders, Gainwell. Like, I mean, they got a lot of pieces over there, more than Miami does, and it's showing. Like, they're the best team in the league. Jalen is a great quarterback for Nick Sirianni in his system, but Tua is definitely more of a system quarterback, and it's proven because look what Mike McDaniels has come in and done for him. I don't think without that coach, I don't think Tua is having the year he is. And when we speak of Tyreek, I believe Tyreek may have almost damn near 1,500 yards right now if he wasn't underthrown so much.
Yeah, Mike McDaniels and his offense are definitely putting him and Waddle in great position. Everybody who catches the ball has so much space around them. I don't really understand how that's happening. Tua really is not in a position to make mistakes right now because everybody is so wide open. It's almost similar to how he was at Alabama. So, but like you said, on those deep balls, Tyreek is coming back 15 yards and jumping up 45 inches vertical, making a play over a safety and a DB. So I don't expect that to last forever, but he's been doing it for years now.
Bro, I mean, think if Tua had an arm like Josh Allen, bro, if Tyreek was paired up with Josh Allen, how many yards that man could have in a half a season?
Yeah, we'd be talking about records for sure. Shattered.
He'd shatter 2,000. I mean, he might have 2,500, 2,300. Like, I would
comfortably say 23. That would be like nasty.
He's just a freak, bro. We've never seen anyone like him. How you can run as fast as he can with pads on is ridiculous and make it look so easy. He's one of the funnest guys to watch out there. And I mean, no one, a lot of people might not believe in this Miami team, but you can't deny that they're a very fun team to watch. And that AFC East has proven to be a very fun division to watch.
And given that they beat Buffalo, they definitely have a chance to win it now. Buffalo is now 6-2. Chicago, I think, going forward, they're going to be okay. Justin Fields has looked really good for the past 3 weeks. He was maybe not throwing for the kind of yards you would like to see, but like I said earlier, these guys are going to keep their quarterbacks out of harm's way. He probably will only have 125, 175 pass yards a game for the rest of the year, unless they can break off a big completion. But definitely utilizing his legs the way they should be, and I think that's a good formula for success, the way this team can run the ball already with just the running backs.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I like Justin Fields, and I don't want to sound like a hater, but number one, let me just say it's very impressive with how they're kind of turning things around in Chicago very quickly. I mean, it's not like they're going to go anywhere or win anything anytime soon, but the fact that they're a team that we expected to just be like gutter this year, they're very respectable for being a pretty bad team.
No question.
And Justin Fields, I think, you look at him and Tua, I think they're both system quarterbacks. I mean, we're getting to a point where we're getting a lot of these system quarterbacks in the NFL. And I don't think Justin Fields is going to be a guy that, lasts more than 10 years probably. I just don't see it unless he has a lot of weapons around him or, a lot of, playmakers around him. With how much he runs and how much he gets hit, it's hard for me to see him playing past 10 years.
He takes a lot of hits, and they're straight up clean. He doesn't avoid them. He doesn't duck down. I mean, yeah, 10 years is probably going to be the limit on him. The way it's going right now, I would like to see him get better at protecting himself for sure. We have the Vegas Raiders of the AFC West on the road in Jacksonville.
Oh yeah,
facing the Jaguars.
A lot of that has to do with the offensive line being pretty bad right now, but they've been playing better than expected. And, Justin, he's still got a lot of untapped potential. He's just got to get a team built around him.
Agreed. We have the Raiders on the road at Jacksonville, up 17-0. And, the game before when they played the Saints, they were shut out. In this game, they were shut out again in the second half. They had 20 points in the first half. They ended up losing this game 20-27 on the road at Jacksonville. Carr was 21-36, 259, 2 touchdowns, Adams, 10 catches, 146, 2 touchdowns. All of that pretty much done in the first quarter. Second quarter, a little bit as well. But like we said, man, second half, this Raiders team just looked pedestrian. JV didn't look like an NFL team at all. And Jacksonville took advantage of it. Etienne seeming to become a pretty good back in this league at 28 carries for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian Kirk was doing what he could as a number one receiver, touchdown as well. And Trevor Lawrence didn't look too bad. He was very efficient, 25 or 31. What'd you think about this game?
I would like to argue that I think this is probably Trevor Lawrence's best game as a professional. I think the way he commanded that offense, the way he led them, this Jacksonville team, I think they're going to be very decent next year. I think, with a few more pieces, who knows what is in store for them. Lawrence is only going to get better. Etienne's only going to get better. You add another piece at the wideout. I mean, get him another weapon. I mean, Christian Kirk, he started the season out great, but he's not the number one guy. Marvin Jones is only getting older. I'm very excited to see what this Jacksonville team can be next year because they're not that bottom feeder team that we have come to know. And Doug Peterson is the right guy for the job out there. And, with Las Vegas, they just look like such an incomplete team this year. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't have the answer for it. They're just a complete mess. Josh McDaniels has to go and look himself in the mirror because whatever he's doing is not working. And Devontae Adams, I know, is not happy. Derek Carr, he's not a top 15 quarterback this year. It's just, you add Chandler Jones, where has he been at? Yeah, Max Crosby, where are you at? This team is just disappearing on everyone.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Devontae Adams being unhappy. I wanted to mention this last week. Mac Hollins might be their most consistent receiver so far this year. And to think of the weapons that they have, that's just unacceptable on all accounts, man. Even if it's not Devontae, it should be Waller. Even if Waller's hurt, it should be Renfro or Jacobs.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess the next thing I was going to say is this Hunter Renfro thing. Can we stop making this a thing? Because the dude's just not that good.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. He beat Alabama, so the sooner we get him out of here, the better. Jacksonville, though, to your point, I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to win that division next year. Tennessee is not that talented, even though Vrabel's a good coach. They have a good system, a good foundation out there. Indy, they're going in the shitter. And then we already know about Houston. They're not going to be talented enough. So, Jacksonville, I got you winning the division next year.
Are you heard it here first?
This next game, I don't have too much to say. We want to mix again. We want to mix in to get the ball more, and he left this game with 5 touchdowns. Carolina went on the road to Cincinnati, took an L 21-42. He had 4 of those touchdowns in the first half. But P.J. Walker struggles in this game mightily and gets replaced by Baker Mayfield, who actually has a decent stat line at the end of this game, 14-20, 155, 2 touchdowns. For me, I probably go ahead and start P.J. going ahead next week as well, or whenever your next game is. I'm not sure if you have a bye or not. We know Baker's not the guy. P.J. definitely has some potential in there. We know the situation isn't the best, so we're not going to see everything we're going to be able to gauge from P.J. Walker's ability. But we've seen everything we need to from Baker. When the expectations are on and the pressure's high, it's terrible. When you're down by 30 points against Cincinnati in the middle of the season, you can throw 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. We know what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think Wilkes did come out and say P.J. Walker is going to start Week 10, which is the right decision in my eyes. But I do think by the end of the season, at some point between now and the end of the season, we will see Sam Darnold play. We haven't seen the last of him yet.
Oh, Lord.
And so I do think there's a little bit of musical chairs about to come our way from Carolina. And at this point, what do you got to lose? You're by far one of the worst teams in the league, going to have a top 5 pick. It's what can you do? You just got to kind of throw start throwing darts. But I know on Cincinnati's side, with Chase being out, you have to feature Mixon, bro, because the dude can go off any single week, and he showed that yesterday. The man can do everything, and he's got to be featured somehow in that offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned that quarterback carousel in Carolina. We can move on to this next game, where Indy also has a quarterback carousel over the past few years, and they had just fired Frank Reich. So they're probably going in tank mode, and they're going to get off that carousel soon and come out there with the top 10 pick and get their quarterback of the future if they make the right decision. In this game, though, they take an L 3-26. I think Mac Jones struggled pretty bad, but he does get his second win after coming back from that injury. The story of this one was this New England Patriots defense, 9 sacks, and that's just something you don't see a lot these days, especially when a team like the Indianapolis Colts, they get Matt Ryan out of there. He's not very mobile. They realized his O-line wasn't good, so let's get a mobile guy back there. But he was still taking as many hits as Matt Ryan was, if not more. So Colts definitely similar to the Packers, and maybe not a team that had those kind of expectations, but definitely a team on the down spiral right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, Indy is god awful, bro. What do they have? 2 or 3 wins? I don't know even how they have that. I mean,
I think they're
terrible.
3-5-1 or something.
That is by far the worst 3-5 team I've ever fucking seen. Like they're, anytime they're on, I think we played them this year, but like they are bad. Like if we cannot make whenever we play them, that better not be no close game because this team is god awful. And
it's going to be 23-17 because the spread's going to be.
If anything, if it is that's because Jeff Saturday has them playing hard and tough, like a Dan Campbell type team. But you know
that's
what?
Unbelievable, by the way.
Jeff Saturday, what the hell?
How did I gloss over that?
What kind of hire is that though? Like you go from working on ESPN, being a TV analyst, to all of a sudden you get a head coaching job. That's the type of shit I was talking about black coaches and everything. Like you just get handed a job.
What you were talking about.
Like this is bullshit, bro. Just because you're fucking close friends with Jim Irsay, and then what I read today that Jim Irsay wanted him because they're close friends and he's gonna have close eyes and ears in that locker room to see what's going on. It ain't gonna make a damn bit of difference, dude. Some of the moves previously that Jim Irsay has made has been great moves, but at the end of the day, you wasted a great offensive line at one point. You've consistently changed quarterbacks year in and year out. You're proving yourself to be an owner that I would hate to play for.
I agree.
And there's just a situation in that atmosphere you have around that organization. You're creating such a dysfunctional and toxic environment. Who wants to go there? No free agent's going to want to go and sign there unless they're getting the fucking bag.
I don't want to say you lied to Matt Ryan, but I was definitely under the impression that this offensive line was really good. And you can't control Jonathan Taylor being hurt, but you come over here and you're expecting those two things to be true, as well as that defense being top 5 to top 10 in the league. That's a tough position to be in. And then you put Matt Ryan in that position. He's probably looking at a backup position for the rest of his career now. He probably lost all faith around the league of him being a starter. And then you put the young guy in there. He's getting crushed. He's losing 3-26 to bum teams. Now his confidence going forward is shot. You might have just fucked two guys' careers low key.
Bro, Matt Ryan, dude, when he signed there, he was expecting this to be his final shot at a playoff run.
Right.
And it just got shit away. Like, I mean, I would be furious if I was Matt Ryan. You just wasted pretty much my last year as a starter. I got benched because our team's ass. Like, and you're putting us in this dysfunctional fucking environment. Like, give me Irsay. I know you texted me earlier today saying that you thought he was doing quite a good job, but the man is he's completely ruining that team as a whole. And if I'm a player, I'm seeing what's going on this year with that team, and I'm staying far away from that organization, not signing there. Unless you pay me and make me the highest paid player at my position, I'm not going to you. And that's just what it is. Now, on the other side with New England, I don't have much to say about them besides the fact that New England's only going to go as far as this defense carries them.
Yep. Ramondre Stevenson can't run you to a Super Bowl. And Mac Jones can't throw you to one. So defense is going to have to carry this team to, 10-7, something like that, or else it's going to be a long season for the Patriots for sure. Moving on to the afternoon games. Preseason, this probably would have been the game of the week, maybe even the game of the year. Los Angeles Rams traveled to Florida, faced Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. This game, we saw a little bit of history being made and a little bit of the same old thing. Tom Brady leads his team down the field on the game-winning drive. He eclipses 100,000 yards on this drive as they get a win in L.A., 13-16. I don't know, man. Didn't look good on either side. I didn't watch too much of this game, and I'm glad I didn't. Didn't miss anything offensively. I think both these teams still have decent defenses, similar to the Packers, but like we said about those offenses and these offenses, or that offense and these offenses, they're just not good enough. And these defenses are going to get worn down. You have no playmakers. You have no guys that can make a play. You have no guys that have the ability to make a play. And it's going to be a long season for the Rams and Packers especially. I still have faith in Tampa Bay if they get their guys back, but they don't look like the same guys right now. So I'm starting to lose faith in them as well.
I mean, I'm not going to talk down about Brady because he's the GOAT, but he clearly still has that comeback magic in him, and that was nice to see. They would have went up and won this game without a comeback had Scotty Miller not dropped a wide open touchdown in the end zone in the fourth quarter, which shame on you.
Yep.
You're in the same position as Hunter Renfrow. Get the fuck off my team. The Rams, where's Ramsey and Donald? Do they even play for the Rams anymore?
Bro, it's I haven't heard a fucking thing from either of them this year.
I'm confused. Like I thought those were two of the top defensive players in the league, and I don't hear their name on Sundays anymore.
Got fat off that chip, maybe. I know Ramsey. Every time I've seen Ramsey, he's getting burnt. I mean, Donald gets double, triple team, so I don't expect him to be called out during the games or, pop off and make amazing plays. But Ramsey's been burnt in coverage. He is playing a different position this year, but still, you're that guy.
Hey, I'm mainly coming, respected Donald, but I'm mainly coming for Jalen Ramsey. The amount of shit this man talks and wants to get up in people's faces, bro, you're looking like a JV cornerback right now. You're not him. You're not him. And stop putting that on your cleats because you're not him. And these were two very recently great teams, and they're mediocre at best.
Yeah. Mediocre at best. Rams, I wouldn't even they're not even mediocre. They're a bad team. There's no way around it. There's no run game. The defense is suspect. The quarterback is suspect. There's one weapon, and for some reason, nobody can stop him. You can't double him. You can't triple him. I don't know why, because Stafford literally doesn't look anywhere else.
No, and I couldn't believe how when you know that it's Cooper Kupp or bust, how he got wide open down the seam for a 70-yard touchdown. That just goes to show how bad this Tampa Bay defense has turned out to be this year. And if this was last year or 2 years ago, this game is a must tune in and watch game across America.
No doubt about it.
And
you
now
mentioned Kupp.
Go ahead.
You mentioned Kupp getting that pass. I mean, that's the same way Tom went down the field and scored on that game-winning drive. Rams played that Vikings coverage, 12, 15 yards off everybody. Yeah. Let them keep getting 15-yard, 17-yard catches all the way down the field. It's just unacceptable. I don't understand it.
I don't have the answer.
Next game, Seattle at Arizona. Geno Smith, is he your MVP? They get the win 31-21. There was a pick six from Geno in the third quarter, but after that, he pretty much followed this one up. 3 huge drives, 3 touchdowns, sealing the game for Seattle. Him and Kenneth Walker are a nice little duo right now. Metcalf and Lockett both had a touchdown. On the other side of things, I mean, yelling at Cliff Kingsbury is one thing, but if you're going to get in D-Hop's face, you better be throwing for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns a game. And Kyler Murray, you're not doing that. I don't know what you're doing right now. I understand you haven't got a Warzone W in a while, but this is unacceptable right now. 25 or 35, 175, 2 touchdowns. But you got to calm down over there, man. You do not have the rank of Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers to be yelling at these guys. And even if you did, that's not how you get the job done.
Kyler Murray is a little dwarf elf that should be working in the North Pole and not being a quarterback of any team. The man is a terrible leader, and he's not even worth a quarter of the fucking money they gave him this offseason. The man is, every time I look at him, I get pissed off. Who are you to be yelling at D-Hop, bro? Like, this man's trying to help you out and save your season, and he can't even do that this year. D-Hop's not going to save this team. Kyler, he's not even worthy of having a guy like D-Hop on his team catching passes from him.
He's not.
Miss me with this Kyler Murray shit, because the man is washed up. He's terrible. Great runner, give him that. He's a terrible leader, and if you're not a good leader as a quarterback, you ain't shit in this league. So I don't want to hear it, and I'm off of this Kyler Murray talk because I will never root for this guy ever again. And that's what I have to say about that. Arizona's cooked. They're fried up like the Packers. Get them out of here. Now on the bright side of things with Seattle, this team, man, they're a fucking team to watch out for down the stretch, bro. I would be terrified to be playing this team. They're just a team that's gelling and clicking on all cylinders at the right time. I mean, props to Pete Carroll for taking this team and doing what he has with it. Geno, though, man, this dude's in my MVP talk. Like, this man reviving his career, balling out like he has. Talk about like almost like a beautiful Cinderella story this year if they were to go on and get to the Super Bowl. Not saying that's going to happen, but just think about it. This team, they look like a complete team. Besides the Eagles, this team looks like a complete team that is fun to watch game in and game out. And this, I'm just surprised, and I love watching it. And Geno has everything to do with it. He's got two great pass catchers. The O-line's playing better than we expected. The defense is playing solid. It just looks like a very fun. Like, you can't watch this team and not root for them.
Not at all. I'm glad. Well, I won't say that yet. The schedule sucks. Having all those games early and then 2 games at the afternoon slot. It's not ideal to watch football games, but I am glad that a lot of people got to watch Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker play, because now they're probably not thinking, oh, it's all talk and it's all just false numbers and whatnot. They can see it's for real. Geno's confident. Geno's throwing dimes. This team is for real. This offense is for real. Every week, this defense has gotten better. Credit to Pete Carroll. Credit to that organization out there. They're looking real dangerous right now.
You know, when we were talking about, when we first started this show and we were, discussing the draft process and discussing this team, we had the feeling like this team was a dumpster fire. Like, it was burned to the ground. This is Pete Carroll's last year. I mean, shit. Then they go out and put out a product like this. Pete Carroll can coach for 5 more years easily if this is how it's going to be.
Shit. If he's going to coach like this, there ain't enough bubble gum in the world. He's going to stay around forever.
You ain't lying.
All right, we can finish this one out. Sunday Night Football. We talked about this too. We kind of thought this was going to go one of 2 ways. KC was going to win this game by 15, or it was going to be a close game because Tennessee was going to run the ball and play some good defense. Now, when we said that, I will admit I did not think Malik Willis was going to be the starting quarterback for the Titans. He was, and he didn't lose in the game, but he definitely damn, it got me again. He for sure did not do enough to win this team the game. They lose 17-20. Right along with some of those earlier games, seemed to be the score of the weekend. The story of the day, though, it wasn't Derrick Henry and his amazing running ability. It was Patrick Mahomes and his arm. That guy is something different, and I'm really done with these Josh Allen to Patrick Mahomes comparisons. This week should have showed it to you.
Oh, I'm completely off Josh Allen when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is by far, hands down, without question, the best quarterback in this league, and it's not even close. The man is pure magic. He does it all for his squad. He leads them down the field in a matter of 10 to 30 seconds without a blink of an eye, and he can score at will. And he's the most fun quarterback in this league to watch. And to me, if Josh Allen is out the rest of the year with his elbow, if that's the worst case scenario, and that happens. Good luck overtaking KC to get to the Super Bowl. Because
5 straight AFC championships on the way.
I mean, it's almost as impressive, as what Tom Brady has done in his career. He's not at that level yet as GOAT, but by the end of Pat Mahomes' career, we could be talking about him and Brady being right there, neck and neck. And I mean, he's just fun to watch. And yes, they have some holes on defense, but with how dynamic and just fun that offense is, like, you can't count them out for shit in any game. And
nah,
I mean, they're truly Kansas City is, they're what, 6-2 now?
6-2.
Yeah.
Yep,
So,
6-2.
I mean, they are, man, I would not be surprised if it's a Kansas City Eagles type Super Bowl. That would be some fireworks.
Andy Reid Bowl.
Yeah. And I don't have much to say besides, I mean, we all see what we watch when this Kansas City team comes on TV. Like, we all see the same thing. Like, they're explosive. They're fun to watch. I think as the season goes on, Kadarius Toney is going to be a huge boost to that offense.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster, he was a great addition to that wide receiver room. Kelsey is Travis Kelsey. We all know what that man's about. They got a little bit of a committee in the backfield. It's not the best, but I personally like Jerick McKinnon the most out of all the running backs. I think he offers the most upside to that offense. And I just, whenever you have a guy like a generational talent like Mahomes at quarterback, anything's possible with that offense. Defense, like I always say every week, there's a little bit of a question mark on the defensive side of things, but when you have that type of offense, you can have a defense like that. And now when we talk about Tennessee, man, that Tennessee defense, they're legit, bro, especially that run defense. And it's a credit to Mike Vrabel.
They earned my respect last night.
Coach. And I honestly, in person, the numbers might not show it last night, but I truly, truly believe that Malik Willis has a bright future in this league.
Hey, he dropped a dime, I don't know, 40, 50 yards down the field. His receiver dropped it, but he definitely made some good passes and some decent decisions last night. I'm not sold yet, but he definitely looked a lot better than he did that first time out there.
What really inspires me by Malik Willis is he's just got a natural, like, good head on his shoulders. Like, he's a great leader. Like, people are going to follow him in that offense. As he goes, the team will go. And he just needs to put in a lot of work and a lot of time in the offseason to get the accuracy down. I mean, with a guy like him, he's kind of like a Justin Fields, a Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's an RPO type quarterback. You add that to that offense, and you got something. I mean, hey.
Yeah, the difference is
who knows
his style. He's more of a speed guy, and you package that with Derrick Henry, where you got to put 8 in the box. He can get out on that edge more times than not, probably. More times than Lamar will be able to, more times than Hurts will be able to, or Murray. So I think that's really going to be the difference with that RPO option out there. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was, watching this game though last night, I was just really thinking and talking to myself, like, Malik Willis, like, I'm happy he landed in Tennessee. Like, I think that was one of the best draft picks in the whole draft. Like, he truly has. Yes, he's a little raw, but he has a very bright future. He's got the work ethic. He's not going to just go off and play video games like Kyler Murray. Like, he wants to be in the NFL. He wants to be a starting quarterback. He wants to earn it, and he will continue to grow. He's only a rookie, and I think Vrabel is a type of coach that is great for this kid.
I agree. He went in a good spot. There were a couple better spots, I think, but Vrabel's one of the best coaches in the league. He didn't put him in there too quick. He luckily had a quarterback ahead of him that was successful, got his team to the playoffs, got him a 1 seed, so he didn't have to get in there right away. had a little bit of time to develop, and we saw he started slow last week, but definitely played very well, I think, in some aspects of the game against Kansas City. So bright future for him for sure. Anything else on this game before we get out of here?
Yeah, but last thing about it is just overall, I think Tennessee kind of doesn't necessarily have Kansas City's number, but they're definitely a team that Kansas City hates to play.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're one of those teams that definitely has that.
They can make.
Yeah, that can definitely be an interesting matchup come playoff time. Our audio's getting messed up. We're delayed and everything, so we're just talking over each other right now. So
yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry y'all got to go through this episode like that, but hopefully we kept it lively and hype for y'all. So this was a fun one. Ravens up 7-0.
Isaiah Likely, baby. Mark Andrews, who?
Man, Isaiah Likely is.
I'm just playing, Mark.
Isaiah Likely is the next big tight end university guy. I'm telling you right now.
I'd love to see it. I know I got my Saints colors on, but y'all know what it is. It's Baltimore all day. That'll do it for me.
You know what? And
if you're good, I'm good too.
When you came on, or when you said something about you hope the Ravens get TJ Hawkinson, I was thinking to myself, like, man, y'all got Isaiah Likely. Like, y'all don't need TJ Hawkinson.
Come on, man. That'd be nice right now, man. I don't know what Andrew's status is. But the way TJ the way TJ was playing last game. Bro, Lamar wouldn't know what to do with himself. He would need more footballs. He loves throwing to tight ends. But I'm good, dog. That was it. Episode 20 of Griddyiron Gang.
Yeah.
You know, audio wasn't the greatest. It was a little choppy back and forth, a little laggy, but we pushed through it. We appreciate y'all sticking around through it. That's it for me. What you got?
Like, share, subscribe, comment, man. Give us, throw in a hot take in the comments that you have. Let us know like what you're thinking. I know I probably had a few hot takes in this episode, so join me in the celebration.
Yeah, the Packer fans are coming for your head for sure. All right,
hey, I'm here for it, bro. I'm a Vikings fan. I mean, shit. Let me have it.
All for the smoke. I feel it. We out of here. Appreciate y'all. Peace.